Staying in the Middle East, an opposition website in Iran says security forces have been fiercely confronting protesters in Tehran with reports of some arrests. According to reports, riot police have attacked the building of the ISNA news agency where protesters were seeking shelter. Gunshots in Tehran were reported by Iranian social networks. Opposition supporters have been gathering on the streets of the capital to revive anti-government protests on the eve of the Muslim festival of Ashura. Tensions are running high still, following the death last week of Iran's most prominent dissident cleric, Ayatollah Montazeri. Joining us live now here in the World News studio is Siavush Ardalan from our colleagues at the BBC's Persian TV channel. What are your sources on the ground telling you as to what's happening?
Extremely tense in Tehran. Violent clashes are taking place in central Tehran on Revolution Boulevard, which hooks up the entire area from the west to the east of central Tehran. The police force are trying to prevent the crowds from gathering and conducting a huge march. They're dispersing the crowd, so there are little scuffles taking place here and there, very scattered confrontations between the security forces and the protesters. We've heard reports of arrests, but the clashes have been described as fierce, given that the police forces are using batons and firing shots into the air and using tear gas.
Take me through the timeline here in terms of Ashura. What should happen and how might that feed into this tension?
It's a two-day ritual. It culminates tomorrow, which is the Ashura festival. It starts today. What the police force is trying to do is to prevent the protesters from gathering momentum for the height of the ceremonies, trying to prevent the protesters out in the streets, hooking up with the traditional mourners who will come out in massive numbers tomorrow and tonight. In fact, there's going to be a speech held by former President Khatami, an opposition figure, and protesters are hoping to use that occasion to stage fresh protests into the night, which is the time when all those mourning ceremonies in different mosques will be taking place. So the objective of the opposition is to get as many people from different classes, not just the middle class, but from lower classes in south of Tehran into the protests.
What you've just said in the past 15 seconds, I could take that, broadcast that several weeks ago now, several months ago. The last time there was trouble, that trouble went no place. Does this trouble feel different?
It may feel, it depends on the outcome, obviously, but the Ashura ceremonies is very important historically in Iran. I mean, the revolution itself began, the trigger of the revolution that toppled the Shah back 31 years ago was in Ashura. The founder of the revolution, Ayatollah Khomeini, had said everything that we have is from Ashura, so they're very sensitive about this mourning period. It's not a good sight to see the riot police beating up protesters who are trying to mourn the Shia Imam, who is the ethos of the Ashura is that the Shia Imam Hussein, he fought to the last drop to the last breath against the oppressor. So the government does not want to be cast in that light, being seen in the Shia eyes as being the oppressor.
Siavush, thanks so much. Siavush Ardalan from BBC Persian Television.